Again, everyone, this is Gilmer, and this is my Let's Play of To End All Wars. I believe this is episode 12, and while we were gone, I did a couple of changes, not very many, but I do want to show them to you so that you'll be on the same page as I am. And one of them is I am not going to move General French to Wetzlar. Instead, I'm going to actually move him up to reinforce Lord Kitchener, because I don't want Kitchener to suffer a defeat. And he is looking very weak right now. He really needs to be moved backwards, moved off the front lines, and let his troops possibly gain some cohesion back. Because as you can see, every single one of his troops, their cohesion is down very, very low. The blue bar is the cohesion, I do believe, and they are all very low. And then some of them, the strength of the actual formation is the red bar, and some of those are a little bit low as well. This one in particular. So yes, I'd like to, if not necessarily move him back, at least strengthen his position in Dusseldorf so much so that he does not get attacked again. And so that's why I'm going to move General French by rail to Dusseldorf from Koblenz. And then, hey, take a look at over here. The Army of All France, led by General Joffre, has his own formation. And I think I'm going to move him up a little bit and let him get a little taste of battle, if possible. And so it's going to take him 6 days to move to Koblenz, which is fine. And he has a display power of 755. One thing I think I have done before, but I want to try again or show again, is if you hover over one of these, or maybe it's this button. If you hover over one of these buttons, it'll show you the actual oh, there we go. Okay, if you hover over the combat power number, it'll show you the actual troops down at the very bottom. Each one of these look like they have 12,300 men and 36 guns. They're small guns. They're not heavy artillery or anything like that, but they're probably field artillery or something like that. And then the horse is 1,100 horses or horse soldiers, and then these two militia units have 12,000 men each. So if we do a real quick math, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, well, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 12,000 is what, 84,000? And then a couple of the 300, which would give them about what, maybe 15 to 2,000 more. So that's about 86,000 men with 1,100 horse. That's not bad, but it's not the strongest formation I've ever seen. He doesn't have any true artillery that I could, that he has in his formation. He has none. I might want to fill that out, but he'll do very well at just doing some guard duty at Koblenz. So we will move him up. Let's take a look at diplomacy. All right, diplomacy. The United States is aligned towards the Entente at about 24%. It's growing every turn, hopefully. And then Italy, that's right. What I was doing with Italy was, where are those historical options? Right, I chose at the end of the last episode, but before this turn has been executed, I chose D'Annunzio, which will give us 10% alignment towards the Entente, Italy 10% alignment. And then recognize Italian war goals, which will give them 25% alignment. No, wait a minute, 20% alignment to the Entente. So I'm expecting them to join the Entente very soon. And now let's take a look at this. If you mouse over the flag of your alliance, or even over the enemy, you will see it says Entente alignment, Entente 94%, Rebels 6%. You really don't want the rebels to get too high, because if they do, bad things happen. And I can't remember exactly what happens But England, it's possible that England would quit the war, I think, if their rebels uh, percentage got too high. I know that Russia, one of the things about Russia is, where's Russia? One of the things about Russia is if they get to 75% morale, the Tsar takes over their troops. And that's automatic. The Tsar will take over the troops, and he's not a very good leader. Not a very good army leader, at least. And really not a very good leader of a nation either. But so that's a bad thing, because then once the Tsar takes over, that the Central Powers can play all sorts of political cards, like the Rasputin card, and also the Russian Revolution, possibly. I'm not sure exactly the requirements for maybe not that, but at least Rasputin. They can play Rasputin, and it just a lot of bad things will happen with Russia, but they're not bad for right now. Entente 94%, Rebels 6%, so that's not too bad. But if their morale, now let's take a look at their national morale. It's at 101 right now. If that gets down to 75, they'll be in trouble. And if they leave the war, then the Western Entente's in trouble, because then that means all of this combat power can concentrate on us. So let's hope that the Eastern Entente keep them off for a while at least. Did we look at any of these? Yes, I think we did. Joffrey, Telengo Carey, Augustin Gerard. And then there's not very much interesting that usually goes on in there anyway, but okay, we have finished building 2 munitions factories. And what that does is that increases this number here, ammunitions. And I know that I've talked about this in a previous episode, but I will talk about it again. Ammunitions are used for medium artillery, heavy artillery, battleships, and I think cruisers. So if you run low on those, then your Navy will suffer, and your heavy artillery and medium artillery will suffer. But 3,000 is pretty good, and I've never run out of ammunition. Once I've gotten a couple of munitions factories built, this number usually just increases every turn until the point where in one game I had about 10,000. So I don't think we will have any trouble with that. I think this is just one of those things that when at the beginning of the war, there's a chance that there will be a shortage, but by the end of the war, everybody's producing enough ammunition for their artillery. Okay, Tsingtao is over here. Nothing going on still. They're still holding out. I do expect them to give up eventually, but it could take a little while. Southeast Ottoman Empire, still no troops opposing us. We're still moving up. That's good. Oh, wait a minute. One thing I wanted to look at. I know I have Australian troops, the Australian formation coming to Basra, and I was hoping they would be here by now, but obviously not. It might take a little bit more time. South Africa. GNC Smuts. I put him inside of Cape Town, which I didn't want to do, but I doubt he's gonna. If he does anything, he'll attack here first, and probably take that fairly easily. But then he probably will not attack into South Africa. He does not have enough troops to take on GNC Smuts, so we'll be okay there. And plus, the Navy will also give him some artillery support. So I don't think that he will think it's wise to attack into South Africa. Middle East. The Middle East is still quiet. Now let's see. Let's go back to diplomacy and see what Arabia is looking at right now. Arabia is at 76% alignment to the Entente. I'm hoping that'll get to 100% soon. I think actually there's actually an event that might even bring us Arabia into our alliance as opposed to just doing it by diplomacy, but it still hasn't happened yet. So let's go back. And to build troops, I need some war supplies, and I really don't have a lot of war supplies, but I really want some French artillery. So let's see. French artillery. See, I can't even build heavy. War supply 75. Field artillery. War supply 10. This field artillery is a very poor substitute, but I really need some artillery, and I don't want to just build 2. So let's build 3 or 4 of these. I could build some here in France. And then we'll use those in some of these formations that need 1 or 2 regiments to fill them out. Okay, what else? Let's just take a look down here. Nothing really going on there. I really haven't done much with this guy, but I don't know. Oh, look at that. That's a waste of that division or regiment. Let's move him up. Put him somewhere where he could replace a militia in one of these units, like in this one. He could replace one of those militia. And how you can tell these are militia is the M. This M means that they are militia infantry brigade, and they are not very good. They're okay, and they have a chance to gain experience and be promoted to regular infantry. But when you first get them, they're not very good at all. These are your full infantry units that have the NATO symbol for infantry. Let's see what else we can do. Actually, I was hoping that would false would be under our military control, and as you can see, it still has a little German flag there, so it's still under German control, military control. 97%. Jesus, he's been there for a couple of terms. I can't understand why it's taking so long. Oh, he's still moving. Oh, I just set him to move last turn, I guess, or this turn. He's only at 3,700 power. Hope he doesn't get caught out there like that. Okay, what else? Let's go through the F screens. Look at all these active units, but really not much to do with them at this point. F2, I've got all these artillery being built. There's some medium artillery I bought a couple turns ago, I guess. No historical, I've already chosen those. These are the locked historical options. The strategic map, I don't think anybody looks at this map. I don't know how you could really plan anything on this map. I think it's just for looking at it and saying, oh wow, that's nice looking. Regions list, not much for me to see there. And then the victory screen, which is pretty interesting at certain points. You have a list of objectives. I'd really like to take Vienna. Berlin, I'd like to take Berlin. We have we've lost 155,000, 156,000 men. The Central Powers have lost 707,000 men, and the Eastern Entente has lost 227,000 men. So they're losing a pretty good amount of men. Eventually, that's going to take its toll, I think. And then these are prisoners, 25,200 prisoners. Victory points, I have 5,714. Central Powers has 7,062, and Eastern Entente has 2,284. And I thought that you added the Eastern Entente plus the Western Entente victory points if the game goes the full 100 and whatever turns it is, 126 turns or whatever it is. But I think if they leave the game, you lose those points. I'm not positive, but I think so, because that would be a huge penalty, but it would make sense, because if they remove themselves from the war, then you really shouldn't be able to count any victories or any gains that they made to your war score. So that would make sense to me, but who knows? Let's execute this turn. I don't know if any of you um, play games on Steam. Just this week, I think War in the East, it has been released on Steam. It's an older title from Matrix Games. War in the East it covers the whole war between Germany and Russia during World War II. It's a humongous game. It's basically the game. Although I know that Swearpunt, a game company called Swearpunt, has made a game very similar in the sense of its scope. But I think this is probably considered the top of its game, the top of its form, or whatever. The War in the East, and it has several scenarios. But you can, if you buy it, if you see it on Steam and want to buy it, you should go to Matrix and buy it there first, because if you buy it at Matrix, they're going to give you a Steam code. So if you buy it in Steam, you can't get the Matrix, and if you want to play the game without being logged into Steam, then you really need the Matrix version. That is a standalone version, and they don't have any DRM or whatever it's called that a lot of people can't stand. And Steam is considered a little bit by a lot of people as DRM, but Matrix doesn't have that. When you have a game from Matrix or AJOD, you load the game up, you put in your serial number, and then that's it. There's no authentication every time you log in. There's no no special website that you have to log into to get to the game. You just click the game, and it starts right up. So that's pretty cool. A lot of people like them for that, and their customer service is pretty good too. It's not a big company as it relates to customer service, but they do a pretty good job. Of course, on the weekends there's nobody there, but they're very responsive. Matrix and AJOD. That's why I like these two companies. So it's something to be cognizant of. What this star with a 4 in it means. I've never seen that before. Okay, so this was a pretty good battle for us. Carl von Below has attacked, and he lost almost right at 3 times the amount of troops that I lost. So that's a pretty good victory right there. A British victory. Hopefully some of these guys will be promotable. I keep saying that, and then they never are. But that was a significant battle. It was a fairly major battle. And if they keep doing that, they're going to wear themselves out. So the game has processed 15 days. We're just waiting for it to load up the next turn. That'll be late April. And we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Okay. Let's take a look. And we got 0 national morale out of that. That's crazy. We should have gotten at least 1 morale out of that. Look at all these guys we eliminated of theirs, or might have captured. I'm not sure. We might have captured. This is a supply train. We might have captured them. Can't believe we didn't get any morale from that. Oh well. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you'll get a victory and you know for a fact that you should have gained national morale from it, and you don't. And see, yes, we captured a supply wagon from the Central Powers. And nobody is promotable. This is beginning to get a little worrisome. I hope one of the latest patches didn't break the promotion mechanism. Okay, Bolo Pasha is now available. Bolo Pasha, originally named Paul Bolo, was a Frenchman who was a Levantine financier, a trader, and a German agent. He led a life of adventure. He circumnavigated the globe, engaged in various curious occupations, and participated in many shady schemes. And he's basically the same as Mata Hari. And last time I said I was going to do that to keep him away from the Central Powers. This time I'm actually going to do it. Okay, so recognize Italian war goals and denunzio. Let's see what diplomacy looks like. Italy. Italy is at 100%. They will join the war next turn, which is exactly what I want. That is the exact reason I did it. Still holding out. We take Ash-Shalib fairly easily. Wonder why I did that. Okay, 12 days to Kut al-Amara. Good. And then that guy's going to take 27 days. And, nope. No Australian troops yet. And then South Africa. Not much going on there. Western Front. Not too much going on here, except for that one battle in which we did not. Oh, Gallieni's also reinforcing him. Oh well. Let's put the supply wagons with the British Army. And let's move Joffrey up. As you can see, Lord Kitchener's power rating for his troops is up a little bit to 453. He's regaining his cohesion, which is good. We definitely need that. And then Essen is besieged and totally breached. The structure doesn't provide any defensive benefit. And it just so happens the castle now is active. So let us assault Essen and see what we can do. And if this guy attacks into here, I'm hoping some of these guys will march to the sound of guns and help him out. They better. Let's actually put them on offensive posture just in case, because I don't know if that helps or not, but it can't hurt. Not much there. Oh, you gain control of depot in Dusseldorf. So wait a minute. So wait a second here. Sometimes it's hard to. Yeah, we captured Dusseldorf, which I think is a strategic city, but we don't get any morale for that either. The hell is that about? Okay. No troops were built. That's about it. That is about it. Not much else going on. Nothing over here to be done. I got some more supplies. Let's build some troops. Let's build some Let's build some British. Canada, Ireland. This is all militia though. I don't want militia. Anzac, Canada. Here we go. Infantry. 2. And each one of these regions has a build limit. So once it stops being green for them to be put in, you can't build any more troops there until those finish. Birmingham has you can build 3 there. So we're building a pretty good amount. Let's hit F2 and see. So we're building 8 infantry units, and then we have 5 artillery units that are about to come finish up and be ready for deployment. Good deal. What else? And then let's just take a cursory look at Italy. When Italy comes online, most of their troops are going to be in this area right here. And we're going to start attacking almost immediately up into Austria. And I think as soon as Italy becomes part of the Entente, this actually becomes an objective, and some of these others become objectives because that's something Italy wants. So that almost immediately becomes available as an objective. So that's the first thing that I'd always do is I always attack Trento and try to take it as quickly as possible. So let's look at the victory screen. Central Powers, their morale went up to 92 because of I recognize Italian war goals. That's okay, doesn't bother me. I'm at 97. I lost 1 national morale due to war weariness. And I think they were at 88 and they went up 5 and then lost 1 probably due to war weariness as well. Oh, and this button will show you enemy objectives lists, which is very little difference except these 2, I guess, are different. Well, Cairo is the same, but instead of Baghdad, it's Yerevan. I don't know if that helps you for any reason because it doesn't help me at all. All right, let's save this turn and then execute late April. And just going back to talking about war in the East, that game models every single unit down to the amount of tanks, and you don't actually see them. It's a lot like a board game or an old time war game that you play with counters. You have counters, but it models every single tank that might be in the battle. So you might have, for the Russian side, you might have 100 KV2s or 100 T-34s or and a whole big mix of them, and it models anti-tank guns and flat guns and all sorts of artillery. It has everything modeled in the game, and it uses historical orders of battle. So it's a very interesting game. It is expensive. It I think will be $59.99 on Steam, and it originally sold for $79.99, and I did buy it at $79.99. And I have to say that I'm glad I bought it because I have enough war games probably to last me the rest of my life. But those dang guys at Matrix and Age keep coming up with more titles, so I keep buying them. I can't play them all, but I keep buying them. I've played this game probably more than any of the other games. It's just when I first started wargaming, I didn't know that much about World War One, and these types of games have taught me a lot about it. And I found this very interesting. Since I didn't know a lot about World War One, I was more interested in this type of game than maybe a World War II type of game. But even so, I'm interested in all of those games. But this game is very interesting. So day 15 of 15. Let's take a look. All right, let's see. Event. Occupation of Salonika is now available. And that, I have mentioned to you before, is in Greece. And what it means is when I didn't know that I could play this card, I thought it was just automatic. But what it means is when I play this card, troops will be available. I think they're British troops, maybe. British troops, a British formation will be available in Salonika to attack into Bulgaria. So background, occupation of Salonika is now available. After the entry of Bulgaria into the Great War on the side of Central Powers, the Entente sent troops into Salonika and Macedonia with the support of pro-Entente forces within Greece. This opened the Balkan front of the war, which would ultimately see the arrival of more than 700,000 Entente soldiers. Greece shifts 15% towards the Central Powers alliance. Western Entente gains 100% military control over Salonika and Mudros. Macedonian regions of Kilkis, Ceres, Drama, Kavala, and Kabila become unblocked and rebel-owned. French Armée d'Orient forms in Salonika, so it's French troop. It's a French formation, which is fine. And I forget the name of the general that is always in command of it, but I do remember him now. Bolo Pasha. We played that card, so now we have Bolo Pasha available. And as you can see here, the overall controller or overall army of the general of the army is Luigi Cadorna, Armada Real in Verona. And if you just click on him, it will take you right to him. Click on him, it'll take you right to him. And as you can see, I have all these troops arrayed at the bottom of Austria, ready to pounce. And Trento has become an objective. And if you open up the objective screen, Trieste and Trento and Roma for them, but we have to keep it protected. So Central Powers morale is at 90. Eastern Entente's 99. And as I have mentioned before in several other episodes, the baseline for combat power is the Western Entente if you're playing the Western Entente. So I have 100 combat power. Central Powers has 180, and Eastern Entente is 184. So if you add Eastern Entente plus Western Entente, our total combat land power is 184 against their 180, and then the naval force is the second one. And I have 100% naval force, and they're 66 and 13 respectively. Let's see what else, where we can see new army generals have been appointed and await in Rome. You may advance artillery research. Well, let's just go ahead and do that. Central Power surrendered to us in region Ruhr-Gebiet, and we gained 16 VP and 1 morale points. So we basically, our national morale didn't, so we didn't even assault. They just surrendered before we even assaulted. Nice. Where does it say? It should say somewhere. Western Entente has accepted Italy into its alliance. Following the alliance, 323 conscripts are added to the stocks, and you gain 0 VP and 0 state funds. Central Powers has accepted Bulgaria into its alliance. So, and we get our diplomat back from Italy because they joined the Entente, so there's no reason to be placing a diplomat on Italy. So, what does that mean? That means I have a major diplomat Oh, that's right. I always start playing them on the United States to try to get them in quicker now. And that's the way I do it. Time wise, I go for Italy first because it's a low lying fruit to get into the Entente, and then I start working on the United States because they're a little bit tougher to get into the alliance early on, but later on they start getting easier and easier. And once the sinking of the Lusitania happens, it starts snowballing for them. Arabia, 78%. We had a lot of new units. Royal Armor Corps received. Okay. The training of medium artillery. So let's congregate them at Verdun. Forts de Paris. Parisian. And there's Bolo Pasha. And all he really is I don't know if you could actually build an army around him. It almost looks like they are telling you can, but he doesn't have a star, so he can't. Well, it says general, but he doesn't have a 2-star or 1-star ratings though. But he can, you can move him around and he will spy for you. Eventually, he'll get caught. But I just didn't want them to have him. And then Forts de Paris, artillery, 2 field artilleries, and 1 medium artillery. And let's move them to Verdun. 82 days, but now it's just 20 days. And then Angiers, 2 medium artilleries. Now one's a field artillery, and one's a medium artillery. Okay. And I moved them to Verdun as well. And these, even though they're on rail, will take even longer than 2 days, just because artillery is hard to move. Obviously, a lot harder to move than troops. 480. What's his power? 308. How about 16 days? I don't like that. Oh, hey. This region is now controlled by us, so we can move. Let's move him to Saarbrücken. See if we can't take Saarbrücken. It's not really of military value, but once I get some troops in behind these troops, they'll start moving out of these fortresses. And sometimes this one, sometimes people stay in it for almost the whole game. But at one point there, von Hindenburg was in here in one game of mine, and then eventually he did a breakout and moved up through here, and then we destroyed his army because they didn't have any defensive value being in a fort. All right. I could build some more. Let's build some. I actually want to build some cavalry. Just because. See, the French don't only have but 4 units available to build for cavalry. And I don't pretend to be an expert on World War I, so I don't know exactly how much cavalry. I know it was used somewhat for charges and things like that. But in this game, it seems like cavalry is not very powerful, and most of the games I've played, I've barely built any cavalry at all, and it doesn't seem to matter too much. All right. I'm right at 40 minutes. I like to kind of cut it at 40 minutes. So I think that's what I'll do. My name's Gilmer, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I am enjoying playing it, and I'm enjoying showing it to you. I hope you like the game and are interested in it. And if you want to learn more about it, you can go to the AJOD forums. That's AJOD is spelled AGEOD. And they have forums for all their games, and you can go in there, introduce yourself, and learn a lot more about the games, because people are in there constantly. It's a very active forum. People are in there constantly discussing the game, asking questions and things like that. So if you were to ever buy this game and you ever had any questions, that's where you would go to. But good night and goodbye for now, and I will see you next time. Thanks a lot.